Hello, everyone, and thank you for being on another Divine Rebel Hour. I am Maritza Moreno, the Divine Rebel Healer. If you have not visited my website and my services, you can go to divinerebelhealer.com. I'm super excited to bring on our guest today. She's a dear friend of mine, and she's a district manager at Arbonne International and a healer, which is why I brought her on. We're in a day and age where our physical health and our spiritual health really need to merge together. We really need to look at how we're taking care of ourselves as a whole, not as a half or not as a quarter, but bringing our body and our soul and our mind into balance and harmony. Spirit's really been talking about harmony lately and how we need to look at each component of our journey, not to just look at one spot, not to just look at, the healing and the meditations, but what else are you doing with it? And as we come in as one together, we need to do that with our body first so we can see it outside of ourselves. So without further ado, I want to bring on Holly. Hey, Holly.
Hi, how is everyone today?
Awesome. Thank you for coming on. I'm really excited to have you on today. I was really intrigued by your story the other day that I heard, and for everyone, I joined Arbonne too because I really believe in learning how to take care of your physical body on their journey. And when I heard, we've talked about your story a couple times about your aneurysm that happened 8 years ago, but there was another component to that I didn't realize was, your spiritual and physical component that you brought together, and I found that to be really inspirational because many times people just want to walk the one path. They either just want to be healthy physically or they just want to be healthy spiritually within their soul. But most people haven't heard the story of how those two come together. So, I wanted to ask you, for those who haven't heard about that, where did your journey start off, with that?
Well, okay. There's a lot of different vantage points we can look at. I'll talk about the healer for a little bit. I've always been on a journey, as most of us have been. As a kid, I've had the gift of vision, and this is going to be pertinent as I continue my story through the aneurysm and then through Arbonne. So as a child, I created what I called versions, and blessed as I am, most of those, quote, versions came true, and I never quite understood how or why, but I was gifted enough, and they did. Little things like being a Kentucky-born girl. I never had been to a big city, never knew really what a skyscraper looked like, only watched Miracle on 34th Street, and that was the most exposure I ever got. So things would happen in my life, and they started to become true. So those were some of my versions, and they would come true. But then there was one that just was always in the back of my mind, and it was an orphanage. Okay, I'm going to just leave that there. Just remember the orphanage. So life goes on. I raise a family, and about 8 years ago, I got struck with an aneurysm out of the middle of nowhere. I was exercising. I had always taken care of my health, or at least I thought I was. And all of a sudden, out of the middle of nowhere, the worst headache of my life, and you've heard this before, came about, and it was so painful that I thought I was going to jump off of my deck. My daughter found me, called 911 immediately, and it was emergency brain surgery. Didn't really realize how intense it was. The doctors told me that I was lucky to be alive, and still I didn't believe them. I thought that my life was going to go back to normal, and it took a good year to be able to have a conversation like I'm having right now. to be able to go into a grocery store and not be overwhelmed and have a breakdown that would be similar to like an autistic child. So that's the magnitude of it. Simultaneously, though, I was having a tremendous amount of digestive issues. The doctors were, I'm not going to go into a lot of gory details, but they were telling me they wanted to cut part of my colon out. They wanted to cut all other parts out. And as a result of the aneurysm, I was having seizures, tremors. They told me that I had Parkinson's disease, and I was in and out of the hospital. I can't even tell you how many times. My husband and I would joke that we should have a wing at the hospital. But and in addition to that, there was just all sorts of things happening. About 4 years after the aneurysm, my sister, whose husband is a functional medicine doctor out of Louisville, Kentucky, they had brought the Arbonne products into his medical practice. And they had brought them in because they were all vegan, gluten-free, GMO-free, went by the EU standards. They were, 1,200 chemicals were banned. They were very, very clean products. And she had suggested that I try them. And so I did. And it was a whole nutritional program. So I worked with my neurologist, started with this nutrition program, and I started to get better. My digestive issues started cleaning up. My brain started to heal tremendously. But also what I started to do was a tremendous amount of therapeutic yoga that then started to physically, move my body around, move my spine around, and that type of thing. In addition to all that, I continued to do my healing work. This healing work was consistent throughout the whole time. And I was also volunteering for hospice and doing a tremendous amount of work. And just as a funny little story, and it's really not that funny, but I would go into the hospital, and a seizure would come on, and I'd be seizing, and I'd walk onto the neuro ward, and the doctors would see me, and they'd literally put me on a stretcher, and I'd be like, seizing and saying, no, I got to go work my shift, and they're like, no, we're actually putting you in a bed. I'm like, you don't understand. Patients need me, and they're like, no, Holly, you are the patient. But anyway, I was very, very dedicated because I knew what it was like to be on the other side of the bed. But the great thing is because of the work that I was doing, they also used me as a motivational speaker to the stroke victims. So I continued to heal, and within about, I would say about 8 months of this program, I really, really had a tremendous turnaround. So I continued doing the program. I continued speaking to the stroke victims, and I just, and I started working a lot with an MD who did the therapeutic yoga and continued on my path, continued on the healing path, and then I met you, and we did a lot of wonderful workshops together, and continued my work with hospice. So years went by, and then I was seriously introduced to the Arbonne opportunity, and I wasn't quite sure what that meant. But by that time, my neurologist and I, because I had completely and totally healed my migraines that had been debilitating to the point where when they would hit, none of the meds worked. They would throw me into seizures. They would have to bring, ambulance, 911, the whole thing, send me to the hospital, hook me up to morphine. They had all gone away. This is by cleaning up my diet. This is by doing the therapeutic yoga. And when I talk about therapeutic yoga, I'm not talking about, a lot of downward dogs and headstands and all this other stuff. This is extremely restorative therapeutic, where you work with someone who understands the nervous system, because it's all about the nervous system, tremendously all about the nervous system. It's a lot of breath work. It's very gentle. It's basically about alignments. And it could be nothing but laying on a floor with a bolster, and that's it. And then just a lot of breath work. And then including, the meditation and the work, which, I was pretty well versed in. And then, of course, doing a lot of spiritual work. It just continued. So this is years later. My neurologist and I ended up writing an article in our regional paper here in New Jersey as the patient who healed herself holistically. So that was a big accomplishment. I was very proud of myself. And, here I was then again, bouncing around, playing tennis, exercising, walking with the dogs 5 miles a day, just doing everything I ever had, feeling better than I had, since I was 20 years old. I mean, literally just sit, riding horses, going skiing, riding motorcycles, doing it all. Making a complete, 360, 180, whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what that is. But anyway, so
180? Yeah, I think it's 180.
Right. I think it's 180. So the journey continues, and my daughter was looking for a source of income when she was getting ready to go to college. She's very, very healthy, very clean, and the Arbonne products, there's over 400 products, and they're clean, and she was, she's drinking the proteins and the hydrations for her workout. She's a power lifter. And, she's like, hey, can I do this? And I'm like, sure. And so my sponsor, who is my sister, said to me, well, if she's, working in the business, you need to, because that's the natural progression of it. And I said, okay, well, what do I do? And she said, well, you just need to talk to people about your experience, because this is what it's all about. It's about helping people heal. Right. So I thought, oh my God, isn't this, multi-level marketing? I mean, what is that? So as I looked at it and really did my research, I realized that this was really an incredible way for me to reach out and truly help people heal because of what I had gone through. And in my healing work, I saw that there was that disconnect between people on a spiritual journey, but then also seeing that the physical bodies were not cared for. So that's exactly what I did. I jumped in with both feet. Now, what's very interesting about the Arbonne company, the culture, the whole thing, is that they've been in business for 35 years. The leadership within this company, and I think I told you this, Maritza, before, you joined the organization, is that Arbonne's training is like the nuts and bolts of healing. Right. I saw myself, or I see myself there teaching and talking about what it is that we need to achieve in order to be the true healers. And that's exactly what the company is all about. So as a result of that, I'm like, oh my God, what an incredible platform to raise the vibration of the universe. So I thought this is definitely something I need to be involved in. And, you know, there were so many other wonderful things that I saw. But then I also saw that, you know, because a lot of people are so concerned, oh my gosh, you know, people are only making money and it's so greedy. No, that wasn't it. Because then what I saw was the people that were the ones, the top performers, what they were doing were funding orphanages. They were building orphanages all over the world. And I started to cry. I was like, oh my God, there it is. So I've been talking to women that have orphanages in Haiti and in Guatemala, and they are now teaching me how to do this. So when I get to a point where I have that extra income, I'm going to be able to build the orphanage where I have foster children. Their names are Lillian and Patrick. They're actually in Kenya and in Uganda. They've been my foster children now for 10 years. And Patrick, as a matter of fact, he's in nursing school right now. And, he wants to be the ambassador in Kenya. So I see it. That was one of my versions when I was in 5th grade. You know, I don't want to take a whole lot of time and go into a whole lot of detail because I don't know how much time we have. But I see it just like I saw the things that completely came to fruition. And I know that this is going to happen. So it's amazing how Spirit brings things into your path, things that you would have never, ever thought would happen, things that are so out of what you think are you know, in your path that jive with your beliefs, your culture, your, you know, whatever. But this, you know, and as Arbonne presented itself to me, it has afforded me the opportunity to really do some good. It helps me heal. It's helping me help others heal on a physical level, on an emotional level, because of all of the ways I can show them personally and professionally how to grow, and then from a financial standpoint, what's available to them, how I can help them change lives, change their lives and the lives of others. It's tremendous. I hope that answered some of your questions.
Yeah, I think that answered a lot of questions. You know, I thought it was really interesting when you talked about those visions that you were having, you know, since you were a kid, and then seeing that, you know, come to fruition now. And, you know, many times in life, you know, people go about their life and don't really talk about those experiences. And how later on, I mean, there are some, but, you know, there are so many people that walk this earth and have experiences like that and don't really think much about it. And it ends up being like a driving force in their life, though, about where they're going to go. And so, you know, when you were talking about that, I really felt that, too. Like, you know, they were a driving force for you to keep moving forward and to know, you know, everything's going to be okay, too, because you know, having an aneurysm is a lot for the body, and you know, and a lot of people don't survive that. And for you today to be where you're at and healthy and moving forward, and now you're, you know, helping other people, that's huge. And that's why, you know, I felt,
No, go ahead.
I was going to say that's why I felt it was important for you to tell your story. Because there's,
Thank you.
you know, there's so many ways that people think that life only happens in one way. Or if, you know, if this happens, A, B, and C can only happen. And that's not true. There's so much outside of the box. And your situation is very outside of the box. But knowing that, it's like, but knowing that it's possible. It's not like, you know, it's not one of those things that cannot happen. It can happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I can't even tell you how much I believe that. You know, ever since I was a kid, I never got that vision out of my head. And I think that was something my grandmother always taught me. You know, there's so many stories I could tell you, so many things that have changed just because I never lost sight of a vision that has been in my head. I didn't know what was going to happen. I just focused on it and kept moving. And that's my policy. You know, I mean, you know, my body has changed so much in my life. I was, as a young kid, I battled with weight issues. Didn't know how that was going to change. You know, there's, you know, emotional stuff, whatever that case may be. But I was determined to be healthy and fit, and I was. And that's what was so surprising about the aneurysm. But, and then the aneurysm happened, but what the aneurysm also did was it opened up my third eye even wider. You know, so, and you know, people, and there's so many other things that happened in my life, but, you know, people would say to me, you know, aren't you, you know, are you angry? Are you blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, no, these were gifts. These were honest to God gifts. And so I just, you know, life isn't perfect and it can be challenging, and you just keep your visions in sight and you focus on them, and, you know, you go for it and you just keep moving with integrity and love and compassion, and just keep moving. And that love and compassion and integrity has to be for yourself first. And that's not a selfish statement. That's not a selfish statement. But you have to do those things for yourself first, and then you can do it for everyone else.
Exactly. You know, it's starting with you, and then people always, you know, think it's the other way around, but we got to take care of ourselves first before we can do that outside of ourselves.
That's right. That's right.
You know, when you started, you know, doing healing work, too, did you find that the intensity of, you know, healing yourself was a lot? Did you find that it brought everything together for you? What was your journey too with that? When exactly did you become a healer? Like, when was like that pivotal moment for you that said, that's what I got to do?
Well, it was interesting because it started after the aneurysm, like, you know, receiving that first certificate. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. So it was after the aneurysm, and, you know, as soon as I became well enough, and this is before, you know, I started with any yoga therapy or any, you know, natural products or anything like that, but as soon as I could drive and wasn't seeing double vision and wasn't dragging my foot or, you know, any of those things, I, you know, went to the hospital and said, I want to volunteer. So they let me do it. Mm. And then hospice picked me up and they said, well, you know, would you like to join us? And I was like, sure. And then they trained me Reiki 1. Then they trained me in another modality. And as soon as that happened, it was a fast track. And but then it was interesting because that's when a lot of seizures started kicking up, a lot. But what I believe now in hindsight was just getting all of that other energy out, getting it out, getting it out, getting it out.
Right.
Just now understanding and knowing. So it was tough. It was very tough. And then we had a lot of issues going on around, family, friends, whatever. So it was, it was a journey. It was a journey, a lot of work. But I just kept on learning and growing, and learning from other masters and teachers. But there was a lot of growth.
Right.
And it was accelerated, and man, and still yet, I've become the wiser for it, but I'm going to say that it was tough.
Right.
I don't know what other word to use. You use more eloquent words.
I don't know about
but
that.
I'm gonna say that it was a challenge. But the work that I was doing was amazing. I was working, with individuals that were passing on, and it was an incredible experience because right away, I didn't know and understand that, that I was working with the angels and the masters, and I had no idea who they were.
Right.
And I just went for it, and I felt blessed, and then very quickly I met you, and then you clued me in, and that was great because then I understood a little bit more.
Yeah.
But the experiences were tremendous, and they were beautiful. And then as I continued to learn more, then there was a lot more purging and a lot more growing that happened. And now I'm doing a lot of very tremendous work. And what's happening is my energy work has really folded perfectly into, quote, the Arbonne business, because the clients that I have now that are working with a lot of nutritional deficiencies and, autoimmune problems and, obesity or neuro issues.
Right.
What I'm finding is as I develop my relationships with them, we're digging deeper. And now we're getting into what's really happening with them. So it's truly a beautiful thing. And that's where my work really starts.
Yeah. And going, back to that, a lot of times there's that story too. People have near-death experience and their life changes. And, they'll have an accident, or something like that, causes that trauma to the body. And I think that trauma really wakes up that person in so many ways. It's almost like, when we do activations and you're awakening that part of yourself again. It's like this huge reawakening at once that I think really at times traumatizes the body, but it's for a reason. And I could really feel that when you were talking about it too.
Yeah.
But it's a huge opening. It's a huge opening, and it's a huge game changer and life changer as you move forward. But I think, that's amazing that you've been able to do all that. And really just, 8 years, feels like a lot, but it's not always a lot, especially when the body is healing from something like that. And to do as much as you've done and to do that healing work, that takes dedication. So yeah, it's tough.
Right. and what's really interesting is that I know, and in really cleaning up myself, when I say cleaning up, I'm talking about like my diet and taking the nutritional products and really keeping my digestive system clean and, making sure I get the probiotics and the prebiotics and the enzymes and making sure, that my liver is cleansed and my kidneys are cleansed and everything else. If I really don't care for myself the way that my body needs to be cared for, Then I have headaches. The headaches will come back. I have that fog brain. I get sad. I cry. You know, it becomes, there's no clarity, and I can't, and then I can't channel, or I can't, you know, it's just like cloudy. It's just, you know, it just brings in, it just allows more, you know, let's just call it negativity to come in. It makes a huge difference because you're down. Everything's down. The immune system's down. So whatever wants to come in is going to be like, hey, she's down. Let's go for it. You know, it's like those commercials.
It's a party, guys.
That's right.
Yeah, that's always fun.
So it's very, very important. It's very, very important. Very important.
Right.
You know. And in the business, you know, all I can do is educate. That's all. Right.
For someone who's just starting out, for someone who doesn't know anything about Arbonne or doesn't know maybe even how to begin to start living a cleaner life, what's a good, you know, what are products that you can bring together through Arbonne that would help someone through that journey?
Well, I mean,
a starting point.
Well, a starting point is there's things that really everybody should kind of definitely eliminate is anything in a box. Anything in a box that has any preservatives in it, and I think everybody really knows that. That's one thing that has to happen, okay? If there was a product that I would recommend, one product that people would start with nutritionally, actually there's really two. That would be the protein. It's completely vegan, and it is all botanically based.
It's
you know,
delicious
we don't have any,
too.
Yeah, we don't have, we don't have any, there's no whey, there's no soy, there's no dairy. I mean, it is like a pea protein, a cranberry protein, and a brown rice protein. That's, the protein is vital because it has all the nutrients, and then there's the prebiotic, probiotic, and enzymes, and it's a little packet. But if you start with those two, that's the greatest place to start. It's a program that we have. It's a 30-day program that people really should start with to, like, get themselves, you know, cleansed. And it's not a cleanse. It's not like, you know, these colonic cleanses or, you know, it's not one of those harsh things. It's nothing like that. It's you know, it's a cellular thing, but it's a whole system to really get you back to getting all your nutrients and getting your cells detoxed and but those two products, that's what I would start with, definitely.
Okay.
It's amazing. Your brain just brightens up. It's glorious. It's glorious.
You know, I want to say something about that protein powder because I've tried both the vanilla and the chocolate, and I am a chocolate fiend. I love chocolate milk. I love hot chocolate. Like, I don't care. I'll be 80 years old still, like, drinking hot chocolate with my marshmallows in it. But for someone who's as addicted to that as I have been, let me tell you, like, I mix that with almond milk, and it's like heaven in my mouth. And I just want to say that for almond milk, and that is just like, because, you know, I'm a foodie, so for me, like, to like that, and I've tried a lot of protein powders and chocolate ones, and there's some that I spit out of my mouth.
Oh my God.
Like, literally, I just, you know, because they were not good. But that's my top, and I've tried many. I mean, I've gone to natural food stores. I've tried the ones at GNC. I've tried them, like, a lot. And that's definitely like my favorite, you know, just mixing it with the almond milk, or, you know, and stuff like that. So I just wanted to tell people that if you're worried about that, you know, don't be, and even making it into a shake, adding like a banana is delicious in it too.
Oh,
I did that for a little bit. I'm already craving one right now.
No, I just got finished playing like a match, a couple of matches of tennis, and I just had this major shake, major. In this 19-degree weather.
I know it's cold over there. Not here. I'm almost get to 30 and I'm freezing, but you guys are a little bit colder.
Yeah.
So for those who want to learn more, about this, and I think it's important too. And for myself, I know that I got into Arbonne because I wanted to also start merging the spirituality with the physical, because Spirit's really been talking about that lately and saying, hey, it's not just what you connect to Spirit or how you connect to Spirit, but how are you taking care of your vessel? How are you taking care of your body? Because our vessel is really important to connect to Spirit. And, we're here as, it's not like we don't have a purpose. We do have a purpose, and we got to take care of our physical body because it brings in all that divine love. It brings in everything that the earth and the planet needs at this time on our journey, and looking at it that way. And so Spirit was like, you have to take care of you. You got to take care of that vessel because we need that vessel too.
That's right.
And, as we're bringing in these higher vibrations, as we're bringing in, energies that we've never felt before, we also need to raise the vibration in what we put in our body, on our body. Even when it comes to cosmetics, even when it comes to lotions. And I know for myself, I used to be able to use a lot of cosmetics. I can't anymore. I break out. That's how sensitive. When you become sensitive spiritually, your body does too. And man, if I put anything that has a lot of toxins in it, forget it. I'm breaking out everywhere, and that used to not happen to me. Brands that never used to do that to me, do that to me now, and it's becoming more frequent. And so I've tried the makeup too, and I loved it. And I've tried everything from anything you find in CVS to the most expensive products that you find at Sephora. I've done it all too. And they're great. They're using the eyeshadows and using the primer and everything has been awesome. So for those that are switching over, because what we put on our body goes in our skin.
That's right.
And
it takes 26 seconds for something to absorb.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing, right?
Yeah, I don't really use lotions anymore or perfumes because I'm just putting that in my system. If you wouldn't pick up your makeup or you wouldn't pick up lotion and just eat it, you probably shouldn't be putting it in your skin. It's kind of how I look at it. That's a weird way, but in reality, that's all going back into your body. It's going into your bloodstream. It's going into your lymph nodes. It's going into your organs. And, when you look back on a lotion bottle or you look back, on any, type of cosmetics or anything you're putting in your body, you can't even pronounce any of that. And most of that you wouldn't ingest. So, and that's, really important to look at too, how we're taking care of our skin, how we're taking care of that, because we already have a lot of toxins in the environment, and that affects us too. So we need to make sure that we're always cleaning ourselves. And I tried that cleanse. That cleanse was amazing. I was feeling really bright and amazing for that time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing.
I know, it's just, and it's not anything huge either.
Yeah.
To try some of these things out. No. And then you're
amazing.
like, hey, I feel good.
Yeah, it's just like completely cleans your brain. It's amazing.
It really does. So is there a way that people can get a hold of you if they have questions?
Well, first of all, they can definitely get in touch with you. You have your own digital website, maritsamoreno.arbonne.com, or they can get in touch with me, Holly Strelzik, STRELZIK.arbonne.com. Those are the best ways. Those are our websites. You can also email me Holly_Strelzik or .net. Sorry. Holly_Strelzik@Verizon.net.
Now say that 5 times.
Right. If you have any questions directly, and I could definitely answer any questions about Arbonne, or, if you have any questions about aneurysms, or specific health issues related directly to that, I'd be happy to talk to you. Yeah. And that was that.
Is there anything you wanted to add before, we close today?
All I have to say is that I think, working on myself physically has benefited so much in clearing the space around me to do what I feel I'm here to do, to serve others.
Right.
If I didn't have the physical power and the mental clarity to do it, I wouldn't be able to serve. And my purpose and my goal, and not my goal, I don't think that that's really the word, but I'm here to serve, and I want to breathe life into others. At whatever time, at whatever space, at whatever place I need to do it. So that's why I try to keep myself as grounded and as centered and as clean as possible. And I really, thank God for the opportunity to be exposed to whatever I'm exposed to, and for the guidance to know what to choose. So, I feel that Arbonne was a great choice, and it has led me to some unbelievable individuals to both help with their lives, and then also some really unbelievable people to learn from.
Right.
So that's what I have to say. I hope that this helped. I hope that whoever's listening, something has helped you.
Well, this was beautiful. I'm super honored that you came on today, and hope that you can come on again with us. And I think it's important that we have people telling their journey and their stories, and I know there's people out there that need to hear it. So I'm really thankful that you came on today to share that. I just want to say again, I am the Divine Rebel Healer, and this is the Divine Rebel Hour. If you need to get in touch with me, you can go to divinerebelhealer.com or email me at divinerebelhealer@gmail.com. I hope everyone is having an amazing day, and this is the end of 2016, and we're going into 2017. So, take time to really go inwards, to be with yourself, and be mindful about the changes that you're making in your life. Be mindful about what do you want to leave behind? What doors are you closing, and what doors are you opening? So this is a time to really look at that. I hope everyone has a beautiful, beautiful day. Thank you. Namaste. Aho.